Hey gang, just wanted to give you a quick trigger warning before we get started. The first question in this episode touches on the sensitive subject of suicide. It's not used as a punchline in any way, but it is integral to the question. I didn't plan it like this. It just happened as I was writing, and by the time I realized that maybe I should have found a different question to ask, I was too deep down the rabbit hole to seamlessly change it. So I'm really sorry about that. I promise to try to be more careful in the future. Please feel free to skip that question, okay? Once again, I'm sorry. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's start the show. Welcome to TRIVI-yeah! I am your host, Dean Felix. This is the podcast where you can learn something new, feel good about the things you already know, and go back on all of your campaign promises. First things first, the answer to last week's bonus question is Diana DeGarmo. What was that question? I have no idea. It's been so long, I cannot remember. So to find out, all you need to do is go back and listen to the previous episode. The bonus questions are in the back. If you are returning for another episode of TRIVI-yeah! Guys, thank you for coming back. I'm sorry about that break. I took a little me time, I guess. Yeah, about a month. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta take a personal month. But I'm back, the show's back, and oh, boy do I feel rested. If this is your very first episode of TRIVI-yeah, forget what I just said, I've been here the whole time. Salutations and hello, let me quickly explain what you are about to hear. 10 multiple choice questions coming your way as we travel down that rabbit hole of trivia knowledge. Now what does that mean? It simply means that each question leads to the question that follows. It has no bearing on how you play the game, but it makes us unique. It makes us special, and we love being special, don't we? None of these questions were pulled from any trivia board games, nor were they created by AI. Oh no, they were written and researched by me, your host. All I ask in return is a simple like, a follow, a subscribe, tell your friends about the show, make a social post. Please, let's get these analytics up. I think this is a 5-star podcast. Let's give it 5 stars. Oh, hey, that's my 1-month timer. Just went off. All right, well, you know what that means. It's time to play a little TRIVI-yeah. Right after this. Welcome back to TRIVI-yeah. I'm Dean Felix. So I took a little hiatus from making the pod. I guess I got a little burnt out. Guess I also felt a little discouraged by the poor analytics. And I guess I was also busy focusing on job interviews. But I'm back. And I guess I'm not feeling as burnt out anymore. And I guess I felt a little encouraged by an unsolicited text from a friend who said that he liked the pod. And I guess I made it all the way to the final interview for a company, flew out to their office and gave a presentation that they assigned me to do, nailed it, and then didn't get the job anyway. Now that is a lot of guessing, which feels appropriate for this podcast, huh? So I wrote a whole deep dive into my personal feelings about my current situation. But I've decided that my feelings can wait because something else is going on in the world that's more important. We're bombing Iran! Ba-da-da-ba-ba-da-boom, ba-da-ba-da-ba-da. I'm not personally bombing Iran. I certainly did not vote for this administration that greenlit the bombing. But this is my country, so I guess I need to own it. Can't say I'm excited about it, though many people, strangely, are. A Facebook friend, who I really hope listens to this podcast, but surely he does not. He posted a meme recently, a picture of Ayatollah Khamenei emblazoned with bold red letters that read, "Eliminated, Supreme Leader of Iran." What a weird thing to post. Very weird. This Facebook friend is someone who I know from my church growing up, and I'm certain that his sentiment is shared by the majority of people I know from that time in my life, along with members of my own family. But what exactly are they celebrating? In the body of the post, he wrote that he saw a video of Iranian women dancing in the street. I do not doubt that that is true. And I've seen this comment made by a lot of supporters of the bombing, but it doesn't really mean anything. Nothing beyond those particular women are happy. And yeah, I'm happy for them too, but that's not the full story. I don't really know what life is like for people over there, and I'm not going to form an opinion based on one little video. Imagine if our dear leader was taken out by a targeted strike from another country. If that happened, I guarantee you that we would see videos of Americans dancing in the street. But that doesn't mean that everyone over here would be feeling that way. I'm pretty sure the vast majority of people who wish he was not in office would not be dancing in the street. Because it only takes a modicum of perspective to realize that murdering someone in power does not usually eliminate all the problems. In fact, often it creates just as many or more. Khamenei, I'm trying to pronounce it correctly, sorry. Khamenei was bad, right? Sure. He recently had a bunch of protesters killed. Not great, but he did not personally pull those triggers. I'm not saying that to try to distance him from the crime. I'm saying it because this can only mean that there are a lot of people in Iran who were okay with doing that. And they're still over there. Problem not eliminated. But you know who isn't still there? Those girls from that school that was blown up in the strikes. I didn't see anyone post a picture of the rubble emblazoned with bold red letters reading, "Eliminated! All-girls school." Of course not. That would be ridiculous, right? I think it's important to understand that while you're posting memes that are cheering on the death of a, quote, evil man, you're also cheering the death of those schoolgirls. You are. You can't separate the two. They came bundled as a package. The Ayatollah, who most likely never had an actual impact on your personal life, and those little girls who will definitely never get the opportunity to grow into women and dance in the street. Okay, hypothetical time. If I were to tell you that there was someone on the other side of the world who cheered the bombing of a school full of children, would you describe that person as evil? How about a targeted strike on that person? Would that be okay with you? Now, I understand what the defensive argument would be. I'm not being fair. These deaths are horrible, but they are unavoidable collateral damage in the pursuit of the greater good. And that the majority of the blame falls on Khamenei himself for forcing us to bomb him. Look, I can't argue with that. I mean, well, I could, but I won't. Instead, allow me to hypothetically respond to this hypothetical defense from my hypothetical argument in a way that hopefully resonates with any, quote, good church-going Christian, and in a format that all of us can understand. The Facebook meme. Imagine me posting a picture of Pontius Pilate washing his hands. Emblazoned over the image are bold red letters reading, "Eliminated. Accountability." It's time for question one. Time for question one. Time for question. It's time for question one. Time. According to the Gospels of the Bible and other historical texts, Pontius Pilate was the governor of Judea who presided over the trial of Jesus. In the Gospel of Matthew, Pilate literally and symbolically washes his hands to declare himself innocent of Jesus' death sentence. Some churches are very generous with their interpretation of Pilate's reluctance to commit deicide and venerate him as a saint, but not the Catholic Church. Maybe one of the reasons for that is Pilate allegedly later took his own life, and Catholics consider that to be a grave sin with eternal consequences. Personally, I think that whole thing's very silly, and it has a lot to do with why I did not love a certain comic book movie whose entire plot revolves around this concept. Most people really like this flick, though, especially Catholics. Look, I'll say it again. Too many Catholic movies, okay? There's too many. Knock it off, all right? Nothing against Catholics. There's an inordinate amount of movies that have Catholicism in them. I guess this is the hill I'm dying on. This is my personal Golgotha. Anyway, this particular silly movie that everyone loves is about a detective who refuses to believe that her devoutly Catholic twin sister unalived herself and seeks out the assistance of a chain-smoking occult expert / exorcist, I guess. Starring Keanu Reeves, Tilda Swinton, Shia LaBeouf, and Rachel Weisz as the twins, what is the name of this 2005 film? Is it A, Angels and Demons, B, Constantine, C, Devil's Advocate, D, Doubt? The answer is B, Constantine. Rachel Weisz later again played twins in the 2023 miniseries Dead Ringers on Amazon Prime, a gender-swapped reboot of the 1988 Cronenberg psychological thriller about unethical twin gynecologists who were played by Jeremy Irons. Speaking of, is it unethical to cast one person as twins? Imagine being identical twins who are both actors. There's just not a lot of parts out there for identical twins. I don't think they still advertise Doublemint gum, do they? If you're an identical twin, to get most parts, you gotta beat out not just all the other actors, but also, essentially, yourself. What? And we're gonna take away the identical twin parts and give them to Rachel Weisz and Jeremy Irons? I don't know, it doesn't sound right. Look, okay, I have a friend who is an identical twin. I'm gonna ask him about this, and if he gets back to me before we're done, I will let you know what he thinks. No need for excitement or hullabaloo. It's just question 2. We just talked about Shia LaBeouf last episode, and he is back in the news again for all the wrong reasons. He's well off the wagon and living it up in the French Quarter of New Orleans for Mardi Gras, which has led to him being arrested for battery after he started and lost a fight. In an interview with Andrew Callahan on the Channel 5 YouTube channel, Shia owns up to being in the wrong, while also kinda trying to justify it. It's a wild interview, the kind that can only be done by Andrew Callahan, who has this empathetic, judgment-free style that totally disarms his subjects and garners actual insight into who they really are. He's gotta be the best interviewer out there. Andrew rose to fame with his previous YouTube channel, where he took an RV across America doing man-on-the-street interviews, covering everything from flat earther and furries conventions to the George Floyd protests. What was the name of this YouTube channel starring gonzo journalist Andrew Callahan? Was it A, ZTV, B, All Gas, No Brakes, C, Democracy Now!, or D, Tourgasm? The answer is B, All Gas, No Brakes. From watching this interview, I learned that Shia LaBeouf has a frenetic energy. He's passionate about Catholicism and using it to justify his admitted homophobia. He's still mad at former Dodger Mike Piazza for refusing to give his autograph when he was a kid, and he is no longer with Mia Goth, though he says that she is a, quote, good girl. Oh, and I also learned from my friend that he does not think that it is unethical for non-twins to play twins. So Rachel Weisz and Jeremy Irons, you are in the clear. Question 3. If one of your friends' energy gets a little too frenetic, you might tell them to, hey, pump the brakes, which we all understand means to slow down. But no one actually pumps their brakes anymore, meaning they don't quickly alternate between pressing and releasing their brake pedal when desperately trying to get their car to stop. You used to have to do this to help avoid getting into an accident, because simply pressing hard onto the pedal would cause your wheels to lock up, leading to your car sliding into disaster. Nowadays, basically every car in the world is required to have a specific safety implementation that prevents your wheels from locking up, commonly known by what acronym? A, ACC, B, EBA, C, AEB, or D, ABS? The answer is D, ABS, short for Anti-Lock Braking System. A study by Monash University Accident Research Center from 2004 found that ABS reduced the risk of multiple vehicle crashes by 18%. They also found that ABS increased the risk of run-off-road crashes by 35%. But I think that's a good thing, right? I mean, it's not often that technology actually helps us get back in touch with nature. Why are we here? Where are we going? Who is behind all of this? What should I get for lunch? What is this question for? In 1995, fitness instructor Jamie Brenkus reshaped the midsection of America, and maybe the world, with his iconic workout VHS, 8-Minute Abs, which raked in $20 million in its first year and a half. Something about that specific time of 8 minutes really stuck, because the internet is full of modern 8-minute ab workout videos that you can try today. It's common to want to be in shape while spending as little time and effort as possible to get there. But if you want real results, 8 minutes a day is not going to cut it. In 2005, a company called Beachbody released a set of home workout DVDs starring Tony Horton that featured a 3-month program of 6 days a week, high-intensity workouts, along with a complete diet plan for those who are committed to, quote, bring it for over an hour each workout. Marketed primarily through infomercials, this home fitness program made over $1 billion in its first decade. What is its name? A. P90X. B. Caliber Strong. C. CrossFit. D. Orange Theory. The answer is A, P90X, and I can attest from firsthand experience that it works. The every other day ab workout, called Ab Ripper X, is so hard that I'm sweating just thinking about it. Tony Horton introduces that video by saying, "I hate it, but I love it." I'm guessing the loving it part kicks in sometime after the 90 days are over, because when my 90 days were up, I immediately fell off the workout wagon. But I looked pretty good for a few weeks.
Hey, fellas, wait till you hear this. Oh my gosh. You don't say. I can't believe it.
What y'all talking about over there?
Nothing. We were just
Talking about question 5.
Well, shoot.
X gonna give it to ya. He gonna give it to ya. X gonna give it to ya. He gonna give it to ya. First we gonna rock, then we gonna roll, then we let it pop. Go. Let it go. Rapper DMX gave it to us until his untimely death at age 50 in 2021. Despite numerous legal problems and a drug addiction that eventually killed him, DMX still managed to be known as one of the most prolific rappers of his era, whose electrifying style many experts say defined 2000s rap. He was the first artist to debut an album at #1 5 times in a row on the Billboard charts. And he also acted in a handful of movies, including 2 movies each with Jet Li and Steven Seagal. But Jet Li. Now, you might be surprised to find out that DMX is not his real name. Yeah, it's a stage name that he started around the late 80s. Before then, if you met him, he would probably tell you, my name is what? A. Curtis Jackson III. B. Christopher Bridges. C. Dante Smith. D. Earl Simmons. The answer is D. Earl Simmons. Earl wanted to perform as a DJ, and every DJ needs a DJ name. So he said that he chose DMX because it was, quote, the name of one of the best early drum machines a lot of the kids were using. And since I felt I was nice with the beats, I took that, end quote. He was nice with the beats, and not stingy with them either. No, he said he was going to give it to us, and he did. Oh, bro. Bro, this is 6, bro. Bro, did you make this? Oh, bro. Bro, this is so 6. Is this your question? Bro, this question is 6. Duke of Earl is a doo-wop song from 1961, recorded by Gene Chandler, and it was his biggest hit. He subsequently dubbed himself the Duke of Earl, and I'll explain why that is weird. Not because Duke and Earl are 2 of the 5 nobility titles in the British peerage system, so the only way there could actually be a Duke of Earl was if Earl, North Carolina, the world's only Earl, had a Duke. It doesn't. It's not a shire. It's so small it's barely even a town. Gene Chandler used to be in a doo-wop group called the Dukays, and they'd sing do-do-doos to warm up, which Gene jokingly evolved into singing do-do-dukes which then evolved into Duke of Earl, because one of his friends in the group, who later co-wrote Duke of Earl, was named Earl Edwards. So the whole song was a nonsense joke, started by Gene having fun in vocal warm-ups with his buddy's name. They had so much fun with it that they then wrote the song together. It became a hit, and then Gene started going by the Duke of Earl, which had to be awkward for Earl, right? I can picture them meeting someone at a party and Gene introducing themselves with, "Hi, I'm the Duke of Earl, and this is Earl." In 1962, the Pearlettes released a cover of the song titled Duchess of Earl. And as I'm sure you know, a duchess is the wife of a duke. But what is the wife of an earl called? A. Earless. B. Dame. C. Dowager. D. Countess. The answer is D. Countess. You might be wondering, well, what about British counts? Well, there are no British counts, because in Britain, count sounds too much like another word. So they called them earls, which is the equivalent rank to a count. But, I mean, hey, they were fine calling the earl's wife countess. I mean, there's no such thing as an earless. I guess that's fine. Earless sounds weird. It looks weird. When you spell it, it spells out earless. I said it spells out earless. Hi, I've got some great news. You just died and gone to question 7. Being earless does not make anyone less of a lady. Being a lady is about etiquette and character. Being kind, confident, dignified, and doing your best not to torture and kill hundreds of young women. Unfortunately, Hungarian noblewoman Countess Elizabeth Bathory failed on that last part. She's a lady. No, she is not. Known as the Blood Countess, ooh, spooky. Countess Bathory is considered to be the most prolific female serial killer in history, reigning terror on the peasantry during the turn of the 17th century, with rumors that she bathed in her victims' blood and was a vampire. She's a vampire. Probably not. All right, the stories of her crimes have obviously been wildly embellished. Some scholars argue that they were completely fabricated for political gain. But over 300 people testified against her, so at the very least, she was not too popular with the locals. The legend of Countess Bathory has been told or inspired parts of over 24 films, and even found its way into the 5th season of the television horror anthology American Horror Story: Hotel, which features a character named Elizabeth, who goes by the Countess. The Golden Globe for Best Actress in a miniseries that year went to the actress who portrayed this glamorous yet deadly little monster. Who was it? A. Kim Kardashian. B. Angela Bassett. C. Emma Roberts. D. Lady Gaga. The answer is D. Lady Gaga. Oh, I guess I was wrong before. Turns out you can kill a bunch of people and still be a lady, huh? There we go. That's 20 points, plus used all my tiles. That's another 50 for 70 points.
It's not a word.
Yes, it is.
It's not a word.
It is a word.
I'll look it up.
Okay.
I'm looking it up.
All right.
I'll show you. I'll show you.
You'll see.
Oh my gosh. Well, here it is. Look. To ask a lot of questions is to questionate.
I told you! Lady Elaine Fairchild is a character from a long-running children's television show. A hand puppet of a woman with short, sandy hair, dark, rosy cheeks, and a large, bulbous, discolored nose with a wart on its end. She kind of looks drunk. But she isn't. There's no drinking on this children's show. She's always wearing a red sweater with big buttons, and her mouth can't open because she's like a porcelain puppet, I think. Anyway, she can talk all the same, and she definitely is not afraid to give her opinions on things, and tends to stir up a lot of trouble. She just can't help herself. But much like Shia LaBeouf, she's aware of her issues, and she worries constantly that she is not lovable. She often needs reassurance that people like her just the way she is. And really, what's not to like? She's the curator of the museum go-round, a merry-go-round that's also a museum. And she has a magical boomerang that allows her to turn anything upside down by waving it and saying, "Boomerang, toomerang, soomerang." Whoa! Sorry about that. So, what children's show included the outspoken, eccentric character Lady Elaine Fairchild? Was it A, Pee-wee's Playhouse, B, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, C, Thomas and Friends, or D, Captain Kangaroo? The answer is B, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Voiced by Fred Rogers himself in falsetto, Lady Elaine lived in the neighborhood of make-believe, a kingdom ruled by the impervious King Friday, whose authority was often challenged by Lady Elaine. She might have been the antagonist of many stories, but she was not evil. Her character was used to show how insecurities can manifest themselves. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood ran on PBS for more than 30 years, and PBS recently had $1.1 billion of its federal funding cut by politicians manifesting their insecurities. The hardest part about being a trivia podcast host isn't coming up with the interesting questions. It's staying hydrated. So when I get thirsty, I always reach for a cool, refreshing glass of Question 9. Roger is a procedure word, or a pro word, used in radio communications to tell someone on the other end that their message has been received. ACP-125 is the NATO communication manual that contains the glossary of these words and phrases used by the U.S. military and many other organizations to keep radio communications clear and concise. And yet, misuse of this code persists, and it's probably TV and movies' fault. All right, for example, saying over and out, that's incorrect, as over is used when you're expecting a response, but you use out when you are finished communicating completely. And there are inconsistencies between different systems that groups use. In aviation radio, to say yes, you say affirmative. But this can easily be misheard as the word negative. And that's a little concerning to discover. Perhaps they should make a firm switch to using ACP-125, like the U.S. Navy does. In the Navy's manual, if you want to communicate yes, what procedure word do you use? A, Wilco. B, correct. C, 10-4. D, copy. The answer is B, correct. Wilco means I understand and will comply. Copy and 10-4 are not included in the ACP-125 manual. 10-4 is a 10 code used by law enforcement and truckers, good buddy. Copy might be used informally in military communications, but it is considered unprofessional and unnecessary. Also, it does not mean yes if you're mad at me for getting that one wrong. No. Copy means Roger, out.
You must retrieve the relic, for without it we are all doomed. It can be found in the Forbidden Temple in the ancient city of Shun-Ten.
So, that would make this, Quest Shun-Ten then, huh?
You know what? Forget the relic. Just leave.
This Jeopardy contestant holds the record for the most correct answers in a single game with 45. The answer to this non-question is the question, who is Ken Jennings? As, of course, you know already, in Jeopardy, the contestants are given clues in the form of answers, and they have to solve them by responding in the form of a question. Now, you might ask why, but don't, because why is never the correct response to a Jeopardy clue. Though you are allowed to say what when meaning who. Like, you could say, what is Ken Jennings? And still be correct. This is the smartest show that makes you dumber. I love it. I also love classic advertising campaigns. So let's say that is the Jeopardy category, and you choose it for $800. The amount doesn't matter. Okay, in the category classic advertising campaigns, here's your answer. In the early 90s, this sentence follows the question, why ask why? Is it A, what is Hey Culligan Man? B, what is You're Soaking in It? C, what is Catch the Wave, Coke? D, what is Try Bud Dry? The answer is D, what is Try Bud Dry? Why ask why? Try Bud Dry. What exactly did they mean by that? Now, that is the real question. Or maybe the answer. I'm not sure. I've never been good at asking questions, and perhaps that is one reason why my latest job interview did not work out. Maybe I didn't ask the right questions. I don't know. I thought I was prepared. I put in the work, way more than 8 minutes. And look, I thought they were going to give it to me, the job. I was ready to move. I started checking out the neighborhoods. Then all of a sudden they said, "Whoa, buddy, let's pump the brakes. All that work you put in, doesn't count." Yeah, whatever. Look, it's been seemingly a constant stream of disappointment lately. But dwelling on it will not help. At least now I have time to work on this podcast again. I had fun making this, and it feels good to get another one finished. I hope you're happy it's back. So, hey, let's make it official, right? Let me just change the font color to red here, and let me hit the bold button. There we go. Eliminated. Hiatus. Bonus, bonus, bonus. Bonus, bonus, bonus. Bonus, 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 bonus question time. One of the incorrect choices from earlier was Tourgasm, which is not a YouTube channel. No, Tourgasm was an HBO show. It was a documentary television series that followed the 2005 30-day, 20-show stand-up comedy tour featuring what American stand-up comedian? That is your bonus question. Like every bonus question, there are no multiple choices. There is no countdown timer. If you don't already know the answer to this one, feel free to go down your own rabbit hole of trivia knowledge, or you can join me for the next episode where I will have that answer for you at the beginning of the show. That's another show. Thank you so much for listening. Like always, you can email the podcast at TRIVI-yeah@gmail.com. You can do that. No one ever does, but you can. If you haven't already liked the show, please do that. Follow, subscribe, rate 5 stars, leave a positive comment, share on socials, do all of those wonderful things that help this podcast continue to grow. I would be so appreciative. I would just love it. I would love that. I really hope that you'll be back here for the next episode. I try to get these out every week, but circumstances, they do be extenuating. So, who knows? But if you subscribe, you will know when the new episode comes out. You'll know. That's one of the benefits. It's a perk. Everything that you have just heard, all of the music, all the trivia, all the interludes, all of it was written and produced by me. I am, of course, your host, Dean Felix. I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining me. It feels good to be back. I feel real good today. Guys, I want you to remember 2 things, okay? Number 1, be best. And number 2, TRIVI-yeah is a quality yarn production.